Okay. Welcome into the Not Out There podcast. I am Chad. I am your host, and this is probably the 37th time I've recorded the intro for my conversation with my friend Erik. I put it all together last night. I posted it in the middle of the night on Spotify, took a listen to it, and the audio just sucked. So, of course, at that point, I had to get inside my own head, like, oh, you don't know what you're doing. And I guess I don't know what I'm doing, but I was more concerned about what other people would think when they listen to it. Like, oh, my God, this guy, that guy, he's doing a podcast. Oh, Jesus Christ. Great. Now we've got this guy, a dad, sober dude in his basement doing a podcast about what? Life and sobriety. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. And I'm a very insecure person when it comes to these kinds of things. And I have been stressed out all fucking day about this. And it's a prime example of what sobriety is like for me. It's amazing. It's fun. I laugh a lot. There's a lot of amazing conversations, a lot of amazing moments with my family, my wife and my kids and all that great stuff. And then there are times when I just go completely high and to the right for no reason at all. I become, well, as someone in my family once said, crazier than a shithouse rat, whatever that means. I don't even know what that means. I've been in a lot of shit houses, but I've never seen a rat in a shit house. I've seen a rat, but I don't know if it was in a shit house. And if it's in a shit house, how crazy? I guess it's crazy. I mean, listen to me, right? I'm just going on and on and on about this. Well, this is what it's like. Okay, it's the smallest of insecurities that can just freak me out. Okay, and a lot of it stems from fear of not having confidence in myself, and a fear of not really believing in what I'm doing or who I am, not knowing who I am. Should I be doing this? Should I not be doing this? I know I can do it. I think I can have a lot of fun with it, and I think people will learn and take something from it that they can relate to. But no, I'm going to leave that for the other people to do. You're not the guy to do it, man. You're not. And if you did, the audio would suck. And guess what? You did it and the audio sucked. That's what the voice inside my head sounds like. Welcome. Come on in, get some popcorn, sit down, and let's watch the show, shall we? The circus is in town and it's playing in my head. Okay. Anyway, that was a bit of a, well, no, I wouldn't even call that an exaggeration. That's pretty much what it's like. So, tonight I got home and, the boys were off doing stuff with their friends. They had dinner invites with their friends. And unfortunately, Nancy's caught the black plague or black lung. I don't know. Anyway, she's got this cough that just will not go away. And it seems to have gotten worse. Anyway, she needs to be resting. So I'm taking care of a lot of stuff is what you do. You step up when you need to. Fill in, do your part. So I was making dinner tonight, and it was, a very tasty dinner. And I had crispy black bean tacos, and hit me up. I'll send you the recipe that Nancy sent me if you really want to know about it. They were fucking amazing, but they didn't take long to do. In my head, though, it was as if I was making the Last Supper or something. Just like, I can't believe I gotta fucking make these fucking tacos tonight, and I gotta go down and I gotta go downstairs and fix my audio and blah 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 blah. For those of you that are still listening, does that sound familiar? I bet it does. And you're in the right place if you're still listening. This is, I know this is pretty weird and goofy, but this is typical for me. The days of this happening are, it's spreading farther and farther apart. The frequency isn't as much, but it also can just happen in an instant. I can go from doing well to pissed off in like the snap of my fingers, and I have no idea why, right? That's okay. I don't need to know why. I drove myself crazy and my family crazy, researching, what are my triggers? Why? What can I pay attention to know that I'm going to, I self-diagnosed 14 different things. And I was making myself nuts. But the fact of the matter is, look, things make me angry. I don't know why. They just do. And so when I feel that coming, it's up to me now. It's my responsibility to, manage that, to take care of it and not take it out on people around me. Okay. And to blame circumstances or individuals for what has caused me to get upset. It's all up to me. And it took me a very, very long time. It took essentially, getting hit in the head with the proverbial frying pan for me to see the light when it came to that it's me. Okay. I operate emotionally out of a place of fear due to circumstances, at a very early age in my life. My brain was, it developed and wired itself into either fight or flight. And so I operated a high anxiety, highly alert status, very extremely vigilant, heightened. So I can get real, any kind of emotion can make me angry because I don't know what that emotion means. It's not fear, or it is fear, but it's not based on fight or flight. So when I'm happy, sometimes I just get real grumpy about it, or if it's really weird. But you know what? That's just how it goes for me, and that's okay. I've learned to accept it. That's just who I am, and being aware of that and recognizing, recognizing that and accepting it, I have found it has improved my life. And, when you feel that way, if you feel similarly, I just step away. So, often like the bathroom is the best place to go. Just if you happen to be anywhere, and you feel these emotions coming, you can just, hey, I got to go use the bathroom. I'll be right back. And you can go step into the bathroom, step into a stall, and just take a second, right? Unless it's a shit house and there's a rat in there. But if that happens to you, let me know. I really would like to know how that, all transpired and went down. But the point being is that you are in control of that. You can take a second. You can take 5 minutes. You can take whatever you need to reset and recalibrate and just settle down. Tonight, I restarted my day multiple times during that hour I spent making dinner. I was cleaning the kitchen, I was cooking, I was doing all these things, and it started to calm me down, just being active in that way. But then I would feel, that energy coming back, and I would just have to take a second in my mind and be like, okay, and we're going to let that go, and we're going to start our day over now and now and now. And that's the beauty. You don't have to be in a pissed off mood. You don't have to have a shit day the full day. You don't. You can start it over. Okay. Think about that. Okay. Moving along. We are now going to head into the conversation with my friend Erik, who is just a solid person. I'm really fortunate and lucky to call him a friend and to have him come be a part of this. This intro kind of ties in quite well to what we talk about and how we are very similar in our emotional beings. So enough of me rambling on. Kick back, enjoy my conversation with the fantastic Erik. Enjoy. Yeah, that's me. That's the kid, as they say.
Amazing.
Or as I say.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Very proud of that sunfish, bluegill, whatever.
Yeah, I think it was a bluegill.
Yeah, absolutely. They're all bluegills.
Yeah. So that's out in I don't know if you know, but yeah, I grew up out in
Oregon, right?
Yeah, rural Oregon. Yeah.
You were outside outside Eugene or something?
I was like an hour and a half southwest of Eugene.
Okay.
But that's like what it looked like where I grew up.
Yeah.
A lot of hunting, a lot of fishing.
It's amazing.
A lot of
a lot of other things.
A lot of other
Various
things.
and
Yeah,
sundry.
various and sundry things. My my mom is one of 10 actually, but the oldest died as an infant. Oh yeah, that's legit. That is my Aunt Janice, and that is Dennis, who is her first cousin. I don't know what that makes him, but that is a bobcat.
Yes, it is.
And I believe is she holding the gun?
Yes.
She killed
Yes, she
it.
is.
Yeah, and she's like, I don't know, 10.
Yeah, she's like Dennis. The face needs to be up higher. They need to get this in camera.
I know.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So that is that's my dad's side of the family.
Wow.
So they were dairy ranchers. That's my grandpa, Willard. And they there was, I know, man. They had a lot of land, and it's a big dairy ranch I spent a lot of time on. And my mom was one of 9, and both her parents were they were like real deal, like spree alcoholics, where they would leave for 2 weeks at a time, just disappear and leave all the kids home alone. And my mom was the second oldest, and her brother Mike left them when he was like 16, went to Oklahoma to become like a cattle trader. And so my mom like had to take care of all of her siblings, and there was a lot of my parents had real traumatic childhoods, and the challenge for them was that at that time, nobody talked about mental illness. Good old fashioned shell shock, right? Oh, he was in the war. It's like, well, maybe right, but maybe we should talk about it. Yeah,
a little bit more than that.
A little bit more. So that stuff, unfortunately, was the gift that keeps on giving, and was handed down to me and my brother, and we both have addiction problems. But so where did you grow up? Here, Chicago?
No, I'm a Michigander.
You're from Michigan.
Michigander. I was actually I was speaking with a friend today. I don't remember what I said, but she goes, "Oh my God, that was the most brutal Michigan accent you just let out." And I was like, "Oh my God, I gotta tuck that back in."
Tuck that one between my legs.
There you go. I mean, put it in the sack, if you will. Yeah, no, Michigander. I wound my way here, both because eventually I always wanted to be here. Like I visited here when I was quite young. Mm-hmm. And I would remember standing in the corner of Wabash and Jackson, and right there under the L tracks.
Yeah.
And I just thought to myself, I think I was 12.
Yeah.
And I was like, I grew up in a fairly small town. I mean, there were like 4,000 people, which is big in some respects, but it was 4,000 where like half the people were like my friends' relatives.
Exactly. It was similar for me. There were more people, but I was on the outskirts. It was like the town, and then just like rural stuff. That was me.
Yeah, we were the town, but as soon as you went 1 mile in either direction, you were in the country.
Yeah.
Right. So,
they used to teach logging as a elective at my high school. Well,
I love it.
Yeah. Anyway,
I love it. Yeah.
It was early on.
Yeah. The good old days.
Yeah, the good old days, man.
Back when the air was clean and sex was dirty.
Especially where I live.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Exactly. No. So I remember standing there, and I was just like, "This is where I'm meant to be. Mm-hmm. Like, this is my speed. This is really what I want to be like." So post grad school, got here. A lot of my friends from college, I went to Michigan State. A lot of them came here right after.
Yeah.
Like either here or they went to Seattle, Portland.
Yeah.
Because it was that kind of that time. And Denver. I think those were like the 3 big places to go. But I got here and loved it. Moved away for a little bit, and then, my wife's from here, so we're going to wind up back here regardless, right?
So is mine.
Oh, imagine.
Yeah, imagine
Sound
that.
familiar?
Even though it was me that pushed to leave Portland, I was like, we got to get the fuck out of here. I don't want to go. I'm like, oh, we got to go.
We gotta get out.
Yeah, because I don't know, maybe moving would fix me. I know how that goes.
Oh,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Why not?
I did Montana, Salt Lake City, Los Angeles, here. And,
Wow.
it all, it all started in Montana. I was 18. I was a really good kid. Mostly, I didn't do anything that I wasn't supposed to do, really out of fear. I had a pretty abusive childhood. It was, there was the physical part from my brother. There was my dad, emotional dude, didn't know how to handle emotion. So, when you get uncomfortable with something emotionally, what do? You rage, you get angry. Absolutely. And, that was his reaction to everything, was a lot of rage. And then my mom just used me as her emotional support animal. Yeah, exactly. And, through all of that, it was I'm not going to do anything to rock the boat. But when the time came, I was like, I got to get the fuck out of here. I didn't go to college. I wasn't prepared. There was no way I could have. I was way too underprepared for that. So I got a job at Glacier National Park in Montana.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah, it was amazing.
It was amazing.
Yeah, but that was where I had my first true drink. And I never forget it. It was a tall boy of Rainier, white can, the gold top with the silver pull tab. Yes. And that baby went down smooth, and it just changed my world. It was oh my God, I didn't even know I felt that way. Right. It's all gone, and I'm talking to this girl, and things are going well. And then less than 2 weeks later, I'm sitting around a campfire, chugging a bottle of, a fifth of Jack Daniels. So it was from 0 to 100, man. And then, the rest happened. But
yes, it is.
Yeah, but so you move around and you think that's going to fix something, but it never really does.
Yeah. I mean, whether it's the move or the things that come with the move. I didn't move because I wanted to move. I moved because I thought grad school would fix me. Mm-hmm. So it was grad school. That was the thing. Or I went somewhere because a friend of mine was it's really cool here. I was just trying to change things. That's really all I was doing. Yeah. But I could always point to something else as to why I was going. Oh, the company's going to have me move there to do this. Well, I didn't tell them that actually I was hey, what about maybe going to Dallas, trying to get there, and because we've got some offices and this would help my career. Mm-hmm. But I really just wanted to get out of Dodge for a while. Yeah. But you and I have so many similarities. I mean, some of the stuff you talked about with your family. Yeah. So I'm an only child. Okay. So it was my mom and I. She had me when she was 19. All right. No dad around. Didn't know
ever?
Him. Never.
Oh, wow.
That comes back much later. But the point being, didn't really have a father figure around. My mom had boyfriends, and they were usually okay, but one
short
was
term.
Short term, or short term, and a little unstable might be a strong word, but I remember telling her boyfriend Ed, I was 6, and I told him a stupid 6-year-old joke about getting on the bathroom floor and licking up something. I can't remember. I can't even remember what I said, and he literally grabbed me by the throat. Oh my God! Out of nowhere, and was "Don't ever fucking say that." And I was you're 6, it's just frozen. Yeah. I don't even know what happened. Yeah. And fast forward, my mom, first generation, or she's 100% Mexican. Okay. Grandparents came here, in the teens. All right. She's the youngest of 4, heavy duty Catholic family. My grandfather's one of 9. All the families are close, live nearby. My mom gets pregnant. Oops. Right. And so she dashes. She bails. She goes to Detroit.
Where was she? From where? Like
from it's mid Michigan, St. John's. It's just north of Lansing.
Okay, but where was she before that?
She grew up there.
Oh, she did. Okay.
Yeah, she grew up there.
She grew up in Michigan, then split to Detroit. Gotcha.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
my grandparents, they came to Texas. Shocker.
Yeah, I was just gonna say what I don't know.
Border state.
Yeah.
And then, someone says there's gold.
Yeah.
There's gold up in them hills in Michigan.
Yeah.
You go up and pick some apples and some sugar beets. But you know what? It was a chance.
Yeah.
And I know my grandfather wrote extensively. So did my great grandfather. And I mean, some of the stuff they wrote was amazing. But the point being is, my mom's like, okay, I got to get out. I got to go. I can't let them know. She did everything she could for as long as she could. She had me. Her older brother, who's a character, he would kind of keep her going, I mean, she had a good job and all that, but she's 19, she's pregnant
and
in
she
Detroit,
left her family,
had me March. By the early summer, like July, I think it is, those are when the riots started in Detroit.
Oh wow.
So she's like, I'm out.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Of course. Long story short, the similarity we have is my family very much like, you don't talk about your emotions.
Yes.
Yep. I mean, we're Catholic, but you'd think we were Presbyterians, like the frozen chosen. It's just like nobody says anything about nothing, right? Everything's fine or nothing's nothing. And so, growing up, I mean, you talked about, your mom, like I'm the emotional support animal.
Right.
If there were emotions, yes, that. But then I was also the man of the house. Oh, God. Then I was the hired help. It was like.
Did she contract you out?
She did, as a matter of fact. Yeah. Oh my God! Look at you. How did you know? Did you talk to my Aunt Janice?
No,
because
do you have an Aunt Janice too?
She's not really my aunt, but she's my mom's best friend, and she's Aunt Janice. I think I was pimped out a few times.
Yeah,
to clean baseboards and other things.
Oh shit, man!
Because I
painting houses.
Absolutely. Painting houses, putting up new siding.
Oh, you can clean well too. Of course, you have a Mexican mom. Like your house is.
Oh man, come on! I can throw down. Nobody can do it with me. But yeah, there was like this weird. There were just too many versions of myself that was expected.
Right.
And I always felt uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. My mom would most of the time be, at best, she was quiet at best. Mm-hmm. But that quiet could be interpreted one of two ways, and usually it was simmering. Yeah, right. You can feel the energy. Nobody's 100%. Saying anything, but you're like, I am not going anywhere near that. Like, exactly. That's a fucking powder keg. Exactly. Yeah. So, I thought, fuck, if I just fucking clean better, if I just don't rock the boat, right? Don't get into trouble, pretty much follow the rules. Yeah. A pretty good kid. But I remember even when I was pretty young, I was probably in 7th grade. I remember she came home. So what are you, like second grade, first grade, something like that? Yeah, right in there. Something like that. 2nd grade, I think. And she came home, and I remember I don't know what happened. I just know that I was in the kitchen, and maybe I was washing dishes or moving I don't know. But all of a sudden she throws a pot at me and starts yelling at me. So she had those moments where it was just like the rage. Yeah. And, so I would say that I was scared most of the time. Yeah. Right. There was just, it was, not to be over dramatic or whatnot, but like you didn't know what was waiting when you got home. 100%. Yeah. I mean, it could be one of so many different things. So we had that in common, and then, we had, didn't have siblings obviously, but this was the highfalutin, high times 70s, early 70s. So we lived in a commune for a while. Oh man. And, the people that lived, that were in the room right across the landing from me at the top of the stairs, Pete and Ellen, God bless them.
Pete and Ellen.
great hippies, awesome.
Those are like the perfect hippie names,
right?
Pete and Ellen.
Right? And yeah, exactly. They would like my bed would look into their room and they're over there boning, just like, and so, between this weirdness, right. And then there was some, so you see that, and then there were some like sexual abuse and stuff that I just assumed was
par for the course.
Right.
Yeah.
And just nuts stuff, but it was all because I was really like my own filter.
Yeah.
Which great.
Yeah.
Pick a 6-year-old and you be your own filter.
Exactly.
Good luck.
Yeah. Well, that's what it was like, pretty much for me. I mean, I have a brother, he's 9 years older than I am. So, we couldn't relate really in anything. Yeah. Right. But, he, I love my family. Like I love my brother to death, but he fucked me up. Like he was kind of a monster, and I love my parents, but I'm not really talking to him, but, for reasons I can get into later, but, and it breaks my heart. Like, but I was alone a lot of the time to try and figure out things. Yep. And, it's funny because you were living on a commune, or you were living in Detroit, or you were kind of in places where there were lots of people always around.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah. We were not in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. I wasn't quite in the middle of nowhere. There were people around, but hardly, like I would go outside. My day consisted of like, going outside with my dog and a gun and like, what am I going to do today? I don't know. I'm going to go shoot some birds and squirrels. Like, that's what I did. Or
Davy Crockett.
Yeah, seriously, man. We had like, almost 2 acres, I think. And we had, my dad grew up raising cows. So we raised a cow every year, and we had mama cow, and she would give us a calf every year, and we'd raise it, we'd butcher it. And we did that, for
absolutely
quite a few years. But we also rented some field from our neighbors, and there were it was like a big apple orchard. So I would spend hours just sitting in an apple tree, like eating apples.
But and then shitting your brains out.
Oh, and then shitting my brains out, man. And there's some people that like, I had an apple. I'll say like, I just ate an apple, man. I got to take a crap. And people are like, what are you talking about? I'm like, there's nothing but fucking fiber in that thing, man. Jesus.
If you stop eating ice cream, for fuck's sake, you get shit. I'm like, good Lord.
Oh my God. Like sometimes there were these trees would produce so many apples, and they'd too many to like pick, what are you going to do with them? So they'd fall to the ground and they'd rot and ferment. And sometimes the cows would eat them, and they'd get drunk.
No, come on.
It'd fuck them up.
No way.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. But anyway, all of this is to get back to like the just being alone. Almost like it's almost like being in seclusion with your family. We didn't talk about things ever.
Right.
There were tragedies that happened and traumas that happened in my life. Like when I was 10, we had a house fire. We lost everything. And that was, it rocked us. All we had were the clothes on our backs. But, gratefully, a lot of people in our life, they all came together and they helped us out in so many ways. So we really did get back on our feet real quickly, which was awesome. But the emotional effect from all that, especially for me as like a 10-year-old, like we never talked about it.
No.
And, I used to cry about it. And my mom said, you know what, we got to stop crying about the house fire. And that was it. And like, I was so afraid to feel my emotions over it that I went to school the next day. It was like, I think on a Tuesday. Anyway, happened on a school day. And my brother picked me up from school, around like 11 o'clock, whatever. And tells me we go home, and, all the horrible stuff happens. But, I was like, I'm going to school the next day. I have to go, because I did not want to stay there and deal with what I was feeling. Because who am I going to talk to?
Right.
I've got 3 family members, and no one of them is going to understand or want to listen to what I have to say.
Right.
Maybe because they don't want to face it. And it's like, well, maybe we can talk about, we all could feel better about it.
Right.
Yeah. So growing up like that, And then I would venture to guess for you, when you finally, were released into the wild, it probably didn't take too long for things to happen.
No, definitely not at all. And I mean, if I'm honest though, if I dig in a bit and, see, and we've heard people say this before, which is, I was addicted to stuff long before I ever met alcohol.
Yes. Right. Yeah.
I mean, you name it, I could do it. Usually, for a lot of us, it was food, of some sort. I mean, I spent a lot of time on my grandparents, either because my mom needed a break, which, she's a single mom.
And young.
So she needs a break. So grandpa and grandma. Well, grandpa and grandma, grandma doesn't speak a lot of English. So I'm learning to speak Spanish, but I'm also just kind of like trying to take it in, because I also learned you just don't say a lot, right? Because you never know what you're going to get. So I got that. And then I got my grandfather, who says I can't speak Spanish because he, growing up, I mean, he was the oldest. He had to learn how to speak English to make a way for the family.
So his parents came here. He was like, so he had to assimilate essentially and didn't bother learning. Wow.
So he was like, so I've got that, but he was also, he would, bust his tail during the day when he was either working or when he was retired, take care of the house, do stuff, had his garden, all that stuff. But then, come 4:00, he went to church, air quotes, church, which was Bob's bar. And
it's funny how many people have church or temple,
church, Yeah. And he would come home and, he would park himself at the kitchen table. And he had one of those big plastic, I think, whatever, who knows, but big orange plastic ashtray. I mean, it could catch probably 4,000 cigarettes.
Right.
He had that. He had the placemat underneath it, so in case anything didn't make it to that ashtray.
Yeah.
Right. He had his Winstons.
Oh fuck! He smoked Winstons, man. Your grandpa was a man.
Yeah, and then he had his Pabst Blue Ribbon. So he would be getting loaded.
Your grandpa's somebody I would have loved to have drank with.
Absolutely. There's nothing happening. My grandmother works a late shift at the hospital. Okay. So I just made sure that I would go to the grocery store with her so we could stock up on ice cream sandwiches, sundae cups, Pepsi, you name it, just anything. And I would just mainline food to deal with
whatever.
Yeah. Seeing things and no one's explaining it. It's like church. I go to church with you, Grandma, but you don't come back like this. Like, I don't get church. Like, we all know it's Bob's bar. Why are you saying it's church?
Yeah.
And that's a small thing, but it was like,
well, but that's like a perfect example of all of it.
Exactly. Like, the fire. Like,
no,
we're not saying anything. We're going to school.
I mean, to this day, it's still referred to. It's almost 40. Oh shit. No, it'll be 39 years this year. But anyway, it's just referred to as the fire.
Yeah, exactly. So,
don't talk about that.
Grandpa needs, he's going to go to church and then he needs a little time to pray. I'm like, well, he's definitely silent.
Oh, and that's beautiful.
He's just kind of sitting there in peace for sure. But, then I come in because I know that if I don't get that cleaned up before my grandmother gets home, nothing will be said.
But you'll be judged.
That / the discomfort of her sorrow and frustration was like, okay,
because she has no power in the relationship.
No, not at all,
no.
Right?
Yeah.
So quick, get the bottles. Not that I can change the fact that he's fucking hammered drunk. And so she knows what goes on, but at least she doesn't come home to see, 9 bottles, empty bottles, ashes all over it, and him and his wife beater, just hunched over.
Straight cholo.
Exactly. Oh my God. God bless him. Oh my God. But, so whether it was food, or as you get older, picket, becomes sex or the lack thereof, really,
Yeah, right.
Back in our day, it was just paper porn, that, or you get the 8mm and you'd be like, wow, this is awesome.
Seriously. Or
I can't see anything, but I think I hear it,
or like, dude's older brother Todd's got a tape. It was always fucking older brother Todd that had the tape.
Brother Todd, that's a perfect one. Those
or
guys
Dwayne.
always. Dwayne. Carl. Oh my God.
Don't forget about Keith.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
Oh,
man. So yeah, there, so I would get released to the wild and I, get alcohol. And the first time it was fine. It wasn't like oh my God.
Yeah.
For me, it was the second time.
Okay. How old were you when you tried it? I mean, like legitimately
tried it. I was, what are we in 10th grade?
Oh, okay. Yeah. You're like what, 14, 15, somewhere in there?
15 probably.
Yeah, okay.
15 probably. And it was, it was Trudy. She was a senior. She asked me out, a double date. She had like a 74 Bonneville and picked me up.
Trudy.
Yes, man, I tell you what. And she had
to take your innocence.
Damn straight. She had a couple of the champagne of beers.
Oh, Miller High Life. Yeah.
Yes, a couple quarts.
Oh my God, the quart. Yes. I lived off of those for a winter.
Right? And to buy a case of quarts with fucking high class.
Oh man, yeah, seriously. Wow. But for just straight like efficiency,
yes,
the quart is the way
100%,
to go.
100%.
Because you look over and you're like, oh, it's just, what is that, 3 empties? I can get one more. That's
absolutely.
just 4 bottles. I'll be fine.
Bingo.
Just
I love it.
A gallon of beer.
I love it. You're exactly right. Efficiency play. People would be like, why did you get a case of quarts? And I'm like, I'm not going to explain it to you. You clearly are an amateur.
You don't. You know what? Go in that room. Yeah. Let the adults stay in here. Okay.
Or the children, depending on how you look at it.
That's really what it's more like. Yeah.
But yeah, that began, again, still keeping appearances, trying to just like, I'm going to toe the line because I had the conversation. I'm sorry, I didn't have a conversation. The conversation was had with me in 5th grade. I must have not done well in something. I don't remember what I was. Largely, I was a pretty good student. But we got in the car and I got yanked by the collar by this. Shit. My mom's tiny. She's like 5'5", and about 100 pounds.
But she would kick your ass today.
And she said, "This is the last fucking time I walk into a conference." I remember it like you remember the fire. Yeah. You remember the thing. Last time I ever fucking walk into a conference and hear this about you. Oof. So I'm like, all right, we're gonna knock it out. We're cool, right? Yeah. Keep it all looking good on the outside so that I can kind of do what I want on the in the backside here. Dude. So yeah, that began the journey and starting to cut things out and drop some things, still keeping it up, but man, it became the thing.
Yeah,
right?
I not quite so direct, but yeah, there were a few conversations in regards to that. My dad would, I'd bring him a bad grade and I'd start crying and he's like, stop fucking crying and we don't cry, that kind of shit. And my mom was also like, we need to stop crying about that. I'm like, oh, okay, we don't cry. We don't cry in this house. And I'm
going to beat the cry out of you.
Yeah, really, honestly, it was. And like now I still I have a hard time crying. Yeah. Like I can feel those emotions. Yeah. I'm like really trying to feel things, 9 years into sobriety, I'm still trying to figure out feelings, Yeah. But yeah, I can't seem to cry anymore. And some of the parental advice that I got, much like the advice you just got in the car with the collar grab, was that, what we do is any emotions that we feel, sadness that we feel, we take that and we shove it down as deep as it will go, and we just leave it there. And you walk around with a smile on your face, and if anybody asks, how you're doing, you just say everything's great.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, well, that's how we do it. So I would spend a lot of time in front of the mirror practicing my smile. And now, I'll talk to my psychiatrist, and he's like, I never can fucking tell how you're really doing because you're always smiling. And I'm like, I know, it's my thing. I don't even call it a nervous tick. It's just like, I just smile because that was like the learned, that is what we do in this family. That is the mask that we wear.
That's right. Yeah.
You know, and when I, you know, I went to like back into therapy about 5 or 6 years ago, whatever. You know how the COVID blur is. I don't know.
The COVID blur discount.
Like, yeah, it's like, I feel like I whacked like 3 years out of my wife's life, but you know, or my wife. Probably, I don't think that was a Freudian slip. Like, you know, it was. I had like a 3-year nervous breakdown. So yeah, I took like 3 years of my wife's life away from her, dealing with a man child. But
we all have to be there at some point. I hate to tell you, but it's going to happen again, most likely. Just FYI.
Yeah, it does. It does. And I think I need to give her the heads up. But you know, that maybe I can, be like a little more self-aware about that. I had a point that I was going to make, but I lost it. Yeah, you know, the similarities in our childhood stories are really, it's pretty wild. In how we, I know what I was going to say was that when I started, and it'll tie into this, that when I started back into therapy, you know, we really unlocked a lot of like the abuse that happened, and you know, I don't think I ever really wanted to, you know, I had my stories, and I remember things clearly, like, oh, my brother did this or my brother did that, and you know, woe is me, feel sad for me, buy me a drink, you know. I use that, I flash that card a lot, but when I really started looking at it, it was a lot nastier and uglier than I remember it being, and I was like embracing it. I'm like, you know what? Fuck this. There's like a family secret that the four of us, my immediate, my family, we are perceived to be something that we are not because of how we, you know, present ourselves, which is like a classic, you know, I don't think it's in a lot of societies, that's sort of the thing. Of course. Yeah. When the door's closed, you don't know what goes on behind it. Well, I was like, fuck it. I am blowing the lid off of this thing. And it was the last Facebook post that I ever made. And you just put it out there, and people lost their fucking minds. And, you know, somebody reached out and they're like, that is some serious allegations, man. Like, I know your family, and I don't think that ever happened. And I was like, really? Well, what about, you know, this? And then a reply would come back like, oh yeah, I remember that now. Okay, I get it. Like, you know what? Fuck off. Like, yeah, it happened. Why would I do this?
I was there.
Yeah, I was there. You were not there.
No, exactly.
But so you go out in the world and you're, well, you're fucked up, right? Because you don't know like who you're supposed to be.
Correct.
Do you ever feel like you fit in?
No.
Yeah.
It took a long time, and I still struggle with it. You know,
I do.
And we've talked about that, and certainly much better than it was.
Yeah.
But I can be in the midst of people I know that care about me, and you know but know well.
Yeah. Right.
And feel like I don't fit.
Yeah. Do you ever feel that way in your marriage?
Oh, that's a good one.
Because some days I do, and I'm like, why am I?
Gosh, you know, it's a great question, because I don't know that I've thought about it directly, but I do think there have been times where we have been, you know, the stereotypical, you know, ships passing in the night in some ways, right?
Yeah.
We're both pretty driven. You know, my wife more so than I am. God bless her. Which is what makes her successful, and part of the reason I love her. But yeah, there are times where, you know, I think that, and it's somewhat compounded. Like we live in a space where, you know, her parents are there as well, and her brother. Now we all have our separate apartments, but we have what we wanted, which is, you know, having a multi-purpose building, whatever, long story. But the point being is we have it.
Right.
Because she's around her family all the time, I can easily feel like the outsider.
Right.
Even if I know it's not true.
Right.
I can invent enough rational reasons why it is true.
Exactly.
And then
that's where I was trying to go with it.
Yeah, start to separate myself, right? And then the next thing I know, I'm caught. I'm caught in a bad place, you know, mentally, maybe emotionally even, where it's me against the world.
And King Baby comes out.
Yeah, absolutely. And then it just, you know, keeps rolling, right? It's a Newtonian physics, right? It just rolls into the rest of the areas of my life.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. And it's over just a fucking insecurity.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, again, I mean, more often than not, I approach the day or some part of the day, the words will come to me. They don't know who you are anyways.
Yeah.
You know? So, you know, don't assume, don't ask for anything from them because they don't even know who you are.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Why should I bother asking for what I need?
Correct.
Because they're going to ask, you know, they're going to question it.
Right.
And it's like, I don't want to fucking have to answer for something that I need.
Right.
And it's like, Jesus, man.
Exactly. So yeah, there's a lot of, you know, and again, it ebbs and flows. It's currently in a, you know, thank goodness, an ebb.
Yeah, me too. We're in a really good, you know, groove right now.
Yeah, exactly. I owe a lot of that though to, you know, some of the stuff that, you know, you have provided to so many of us.
Thank you.
By opening up your space and, you know, being open to these conversations, which makes a big difference. And I'm sure you hear that directly, but there are people who are positively talking behind your back about, wow, it was amazing that, you know, that was the topic. Like, I need more of that.
Yeah.
Right. Although I think you were part of that conversation.
I was, but yeah, it's still, you know, I mean, this is a perfect example of, I think to the, the imposter syndrome, right? More or less, like, you know, I started a meeting and it took a long time, but it has turned into something that I didn't think that it ever would. And I have this, you know, this group of friends that are like family, which you're a part of. And, it like, sometimes it gets overwhelming but like in a positive way where, you know, you feel like I don't know, I guess like your heart feels full, you know, and, you know, you feel that way, like, you know, when you're with your kids and you experience things like that. But, you know, when you are able to relate to somebody, on a level that not everybody can relate to, and they say something positive about it, it's like, oh, you know, no, it's bullshit. Me, I'm not that person. I am not providing to you what you say I am. And I struggle with that, like, so much.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think it's a common trait for a lot of us. Absolutely. Yeah. For any number of reasons.
Well, you know, I keep saying part of, but, you know, one of the reasons that I wanted to start, you know, what we're doing here is that, you know, when you're in the throes of your addiction, whatever that might be, you know, mine was drugs and alcohol, as it goes along, like it for me, it formed an identity, you know, it kind of became who I was, like, oh, that guy, you know, he's a funny dude, and you know, put a couple of pops in him and like sit back and watch the show. And that was true for a long time until it wasn't. Right. Then it got real messy and real bad. And I stopped liking who I was. You know, I didn't like what I saw in the mirror, you know. And then I began to think, like, well, shit, am I mean, is that all that I am? Like a good time? I mean, am I like kind of doing some shitty things, and am I like a bad person? Like, am I just a shit person for, you know, being, you know, a drunk and whatever? And the answer is no, you're not. And you're a good person. And, you know, the fact that you're able to, I don't know, question that about yourself shows that there's something in there that can be rescued and can be, you know, opened up and looked at and be like, yeah, well, you knew it. You just needed some help to like get there. And
I hope that this kind of does that for people.
Absolutely. And you know, I think there are still times, plenty of times. And I, you know, when people ask the question, it comes up occasionally is, oh, what are you known for? Or, who are you? Or describe, you know, some weird question.
Sure.
You know, whether at work or other place, you know.
Erik, what's your thing?
Exactly. What are you good at?
What's your jam?
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about Erik.
I'm good at napping.
Yeah.
Fucking great.
I am, as a matter of fact.
Yes, so am I.
I can lay down a serious nap. But I literally, it's like a stumper question.
Yeah.
Even all these years later.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think about how, in many respects, ill-prepared I was to even start life on my own.
Absolutely. Right? Yeah.
And how much time I spent
figuring it out
and trying, you know, getting bad information from bad sources, but also not having the, maybe just the, I don't know if it's the awareness or the courage or all the above, then some other things.
It's kind of like a support system in a way.
Yeah. To even know what to ask.
Right. And you know, some people have siblings or parent that's just sort of like that helps you see who you are.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, I hope I'm doing that with my kids, and I feel like Nancy and I are, like, we're really trying to love them and support them in whatever they're doing.
Right.
You know, because, you know, my hope is that one day, you know, when they're challenged or struggling in any way and they don't want to do, it's like, well, yeah, but I mean, like, you know who you are, like, you know what you should do and whatever, you know what you need to do. And that can really help somebody. But fuck, I would get myself in a pickle and I didn't know what to do.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
And I just fucked everything up.
Yeah. Mine was the, you know, quintessential cheat, lie, steal, run.
Yep.
And I did that over and over and over and over again, and didn't even consider that there were other options.
Yeah.
Didn't necessarily know that there were, just thought this is the way I am. So
I'm defective.
I can only use those.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And even today, I mean, I can, even with my, like you said, in the marriage or even as a father, sometimes I'm like, I'm not really a father. I made that child, but
yeah,
you know,
they call me dad.
Yeah. But you know, I mean, either it's because I think that there's limitations or old stuff, or it's like because I haven't spent the, I don't know, whatever, throwing the ball, or, you know, let's sit down and have a talk, or let's break bread, because I didn't do it in that one moment, that one day out of 365. Therefore,
my kid's fucked up,
and I'm clearly not a good dad, or I wasn't meant to be a father. And it's just like, you know, again, thankfully it isn't as pervasive, but there are plenty of times. I mean, I go to this Saturday meeting now with a couple of guys from Thursday, and we have a great time afterwards, you know, getting some food. But when I go to this meeting, I've known about this meeting for years, never been to it, men's meeting. There are probably 35 guys there.
Okay.
I know 17 of them.
All right.
Half.
Sure.
You know, pretty well from other places, and some are close friends. I can sit there and not pay attention to those, or even downplay those. Like I don't think they really know me, or they don't say hi to me the way they say hi to other people, and that's because I'm defective, right? And I spend that, and then I judge myself for not knowing the other 17.
Yeah,
right. And
they know him, I don't know him. Oh my God,
right? Exactly.
Fucking.
Did you hear the way he said, "Hey, Carl"?
Yeah.
You know, like, oh man, all right. And meanwhile, I'm like, what do I say? How do I do this?
Hey.
And it's like, you know, when I hear some people say some things positively about me, I just kind of go, like you said, like, really?
Are we talking about the same person?
Yeah. Is that really it?
Are you fucking with me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, now, there are some moments where I'm like, okay, I know that there's enough proof points there.
Right.
Like, I can see where we're going.
Yeah.
But it doesn't always land.
Yeah, it rarely lands for me.
And if it does, it doesn't always hit the heart.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I believe you.
It kind of gets caught in the filtration.
Yeah.
And by the time it gets down to the heart, it just lands with a thud because of all the negative filters that it's got to go through. You know, you're a piece of shit. You're a liar. You're
picks up all the heavy metals.
Yeah. Yeah. It becomes a kidney stone. I'll have to have my gallbladder removed. Why? Because somebody paid me a compliment. Somebody
earlier today.
Somebody said I was a nice guy.
Yeah, exactly. Said I'm a nice guy. Said I meant a lot to him, and I really helped him out. That it was so great that I did such a great job, and on that project. I mean, I was joking with my boss today, and know her well, and really respect her a ton, and there's some things going on with our team.
Sure.
And
there's always stuff.
Yeah. And she says to me, I just really want to thank you for like literally just showing up to work and like doing your work.
Just the simple task of.
Yeah. And I said, well, thank God the bar's really low.
You know what? I can take that one.
Yes, exactly.
I got complimented for, just showing up and doing my job.
And I was like, man, that's awesome.
Oh, that's so great.
But, there are times when, the dreaded annual review.
Oh, fuck. I don't have to go through that.
You're blessed. You're blessed, man. Brother.
Well,
and right. And it's, tell me the things you did well this year. And I'm like standing there like,
such a bullshit question.
I know.
Like, how about I got up and brushed my teeth? I didn't scream at somebody on the way into work today.
I didn't jerk off in my office behind a closed door.
I forgot to light the candle this time. God damn it. I tell them it's meditation.
That's right.
It's Erik's church.
I turned off the company Wi-Fi while I was perusing various visual aids. Oh
my God.
It's just nuts. Just the stuff that,
it is.
It's like what gets through and how does it, like you said, what filters does it need to go through?
Yeah.
And, the filters are getting better, but I mean, there can be any moment.
Well, I think you should disclose how long you've been sober.
Oh my. I think the last time I did the math, it's 27 years.
Okay. 27 years sober.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean,
here we are. We're talking about the good times.
Here we are.
But truly good times.
Yeah,
truly good times.
It is good times. But that is just to, I don't know, to illustrate the point that, that sobriety is fucking wonderful. Like I'm
100%.
I'm grateful for all of this. I'm grateful for this exact moment and what we're doing here. But to get to this exact point, it's a lot of fucking work.
A lot of work.
It is a lot of work. And I don't ever want that to get like lost on people. Yeah. That, if it's something you really, really want, you have to work at it. You have to work for it. But you never, I feel, I know that, I won't ever consider myself a recovered alcoholic. Right. I'm always going to be in recovery. I'm always going to be having to learn more about myself. That my big thing lately has been like trying to hone in on the self-awareness about, and owning and embracing like, who I actually am.
Right.
And not owning it in like owning your shit, but just owning like, this is me.
This is who I am.
This is who I am.
Yeah.
These are the things that I like.
Right.
And I feel, at least in my experience, a lot of things that I have read or studied that in regards to mental health and recovery, there's a lot of stuff out there, products if you want to, that kind of give you a finish line.
Yeah.
Like you read this book and you implement these suggestions and your life is forever changed. But they don't tell you is that you have to do that every single day.
And even multiple times within the day.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the thing that I've learned is that you can start your day over anytime.
Yes, exactly.
Anytime.
One of my favorite lines.
Yeah, because it's so simple. It's like, wait, I can? It's like, yeah. I mean, you don't have to feel like shit for the entire day.
Yeah.
You can like go into, Erik's closed room with, the Wi-Fi off, and you can restart your day.
Yes, you can. You can. Plenty of times. I had to restart my day this morning before I left the house.
Hey, man, whatever.
And thankfully I could.
Yeah.
Right. I have that chance.
Yes.
Because of the work that
right.
we have a chance to do. And that line, is, and we have a daily reprieve.
We do. And
contingent on the maintenance of our spiritual condition. And so it tells me, which is actually, I'm simple enough to be like, okay, I can get my head around that.
Right.
I just need help with like defining the maintenance stuff. Like, what does that really mean? Now,
right.
I think we generally know, but it transcends, the things that we often point to, like, yeah, meetings and literature and service, but it's like, go give an honest day's effort for an honest day's pay. Mm-hmm. Don't be a dick. like just try to go through walking from your house the 0.86 miles to the train, to the metro, without looking at someone in scorn.
Right. Or treating yourself like shit.
Or exactly. Like, just do some simple things. But I didn't know that those were things that if you did those enough times, that you start to have those moments of, okay, I think I can accept a little bit more that this is actually who I am.
Right.
Or be able to be there for someone when they're in a time of need and not expect anything in return, and be able to just know that you, even if they never say anything, in your heart of hearts, like, I was there for somebody.
Yeah. Sometimes it is just sitting next to somebody.
Yeah.
That is, it's so true. Sometimes, I get so in my head. And I know it's sort of like a cliche at this point, but like, to me, I'm like, I make my bed in the morning and it makes me feel good. And it's a simple thing that, like, if everything, I know it's out there somewhere, but the guy mentions, you make your bed, and if it's the only thing you do that day, you come home and you can climb into a made bed. Exactly. And right. That rings so true to me, because it's like, my day can go to shit, but when I come home, I can like look at my bed and be like, oh man, like, okay.
All right.
I did something responsible today. Did I brush my teeth?
No, but there's always tomorrow or now. I could do it now.
I could do it. Oh my God.
Do it now.
Procrastination. Yeah, that's a topic for another time.
That is a topic for another time.
Well, dude, sure. This is a good one.
I'm blessed that you were willing to just give it a shot, meaning you saying, I want to do this thing, and taking the time to actually follow it and do it. I mean, it's a huge example of, okay, this is what faith and, trust and belief and, humility, this is actually what it looks like. Like, it doesn't look like something else out of the movies. Yeah. It's chop wood, carry water. It's, I want to do this. I've learned enough about myself that I'd like to spend more time doing the things I love. And this one I've never done before, but I'm willing to give it some of that effort that we learn how to do in recovery. Like you said, it's work. It doesn't just happen. No. It doesn't just happen. It is work. It is continual work, day in, day out, moment to moment. And sometimes I'm up for it.
Sometimes you're so fucking tired, you're not quite sure you can do it. And those days you do kind of hold on a little bit, but you string enough of that together that you realize, shit, this is one of those days. I'm just going to hold on, and tomorrow's a new day.
Yeah.
You know, like whatever it might be. You know, sometimes I just have like a fucking mental breakdown day, and I'm like, oh God. Well, I'm just going to try and keep my mouth shut and grit my teeth, and I'll be in bed in 5 hours, and it'll be behind me.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Well, man,
thanks for the opportunity, brother.
Thank you, brother. I love you. This is
love
awesome.
you too, man.
All right.
This was awesome.
See you.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I really had a wonderful time talking with Erik. He's a great guy. I hope that you were able to take something from what I shared with you today, especially maybe in the beginning, talking about the self-imposed insanity that we like to subject ourselves to. It's okay if you're feeling that way, and I don't want you to think that you are alone in feeling that way, or that you are somehow defective or broken or beyond help. You're not at all. It's okay to feel that way, and it's all right to admit it, and just keep coming back. That's what they always say to us in recovery. No matter where you go, just keep coming back, and I hope you do keep coming back here. And I suppose I should give you an email address if you have any comments or feedback you'd like to give, or if you have any questions about, recovery, addiction, sobriety. If you don't know what to do and you're afraid to ask somebody in your life, you could always just email me, and I can hopefully offer some decent suggestions on what to do, how to start, and just to, let you know that you're okay, you're safe. The email address is notalltherepod@gmail.com. That's notalltherepod@gmail.com. I will let you go now. Don't you love it when somebody's on the phone with you and they're like, you know what? I'm gonna let you go now. Like, you're real important to them or something. This is Thanksgiving week, and it is a time for people to have it's drinking and feasting season. So I'm going to put out another episode on Thursday. It will drop Thursday at midnight. It's a conversation with my friend Sean. It's a good one. I think you're really going to enjoy it. He's a great, funny fucking guy who has a lot of experience on a lot of things, and he doesn't bullshit, and it's awesome. And safe travels if you're traveling. Have a happy and healthy holiday. You don't have to drink. You don't have to get high. You don't have to. And if you are feeling uncomfortable, stressed out, and you're somewhere that you want to leave, you can leave. You don't have to stick around, okay? Be kind and loving to yourself. Remember that you're not alone. I'm here. And I'll see you next time. Take care.